Laser sights enhance and maintain your accuracy in a time of crisis, preventing tunnel vision and allowing quick target acquisition in awkward shooting positions. Crimson Trace, making laser sight standard equipment. Learn more at crimsontrace.com.
Welcome to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, where a right is always a right, not a privilege.
Hard to imagine. By the way, welcome back. Tom Gresham, Gun Talk. Hard to imagine in a little bit less than an hour as I'm speaking right now. It will be exactly 100 years since the guns went silent. 4 o'clock Central Time today, 11 o'clock there in France. The 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, 11/11/11, Veterans Day. It's when the guns went silent in World War I. Millions killed. The war to end all wars, not. But yet, it's interesting. The history of war is fascinating. We like war movies. We like war books about war, the great conflict. Fascinating to study, fascinating to read about, to learn about, because you understand about interactions between countries. But I don't know that you understand what war is if you haven't been there. I have not. Don't get me wrong, I've not. I thank those who have been there, who protect us, who have protected our country, who give us this life, who allow us to vote. The privilege of voting, the duty of voting. We just had a caller say he heard that half the NRA members in Washington State did not even vote. I once saw a stat, don't know if it's true, that half the NRA members are not registered to vote. If true, that would truly be dismaying. That would be upsetting. 866-TALK-GUN, looking for your comments, your range reports, or your thoughts about the election. Line 2, Don's with us out of Little Rock, Arkansas. We were talking earlier, Don, about a friend of mine who sent me pictures of his 8-year-old grandson who shot his first deer last week, and you had a thought about that.
Thank you for your show. I'm a first-time caller. Love your show. Try and catch it every week as I can.
Thank you.
I consider myself kind of not a baby at guns, but been around it all my life, but I'm not a real big gun enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
However, my son, he went to his first hunting trip with his grandpa, 8 years old, 8 and a half, almost 9. And the first day he went out, first hour, first shot, he shot him an 8-point.
Holy cow.
And boy, did that catch, he caught the fever. Okay. Now to this day, more times than not, he'll pass on every other deer. He's waiting for the big boy.
Mm-hmm.
Very responsible gun guy.
That's amazing. An 8-year-old takes an 8-point for his first deer. You know, he kind of got ruined right off the bat. He thought they're all going to be like that.
He did. He really caught the fever from him. He's very avid. The boy's got the whole safe full of guns. I couldn't begin to even name them all. And so I also took my granddaughter out, 9 years old, just about 9, and took her out to the range, out across the field. We live in the country, and shot her. Taught her how to shoot the pistol a little bit, SIG 1911-22.
Mm-hmm.
She loved that, and just getting her out there. My wife was there with us, and she had never shot, so I taught her how to handle the gun properly, where to throw, not to aim, and how to carry it, and all that. And they just loved it. But my goodness, my wife, she shot an 8-inch pattern at about 30 yards, 9 shots out of 10, and it's like I couldn't believe it. She took that target and hung it on the office in her wall. She's very proud of it.
That's great. But now, you know the deal. Now you're stuck. You got to keep taking them out as often as you possibly can. That 9-year-old as well as your wife, you got to keep them out there to keep them interested, and they're going to get to where they want their own guns.
Absolutely. I love it. And wasn't really going to comment on this. There's something you just said before you came on about the veterans and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. My father was in Korea, and the reason why we need to honor and take care of our veterans so much is my father was in Korea, and those those guys, it doesn't ever leave them. When they come back, it does not ever leave them. I remember one time standing at the back door. It was snowing, and he was looking out the back door, and my mom walked up to him and was standing there and said, "Ain't that pretty?" And all he did, he kind of choked up and he said, "All I see is red." He said, "It's not pretty to me because of what he went through in Korea." And it kills me the way they treat our flag and our veterans and the service members, all of them. They deserve the highest respect we can give them.
Amen, Don. I appreciate that. Thank you for calling, and thank you for taking those youngsters out, and thank you for your comments on our veterans. Thank you, sir. Line 4, George is with us from Bossier City, Louisiana. George, you got a problem here?
Yes, sir. I got a Glock 41 Gen 4. It's my favorite gun. It's 45, and I have a feed problem. After I've shot maybe 150 rounds through it, a round will come up and stop, jam on the feed ramp into the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
It got progressively worse, and I sent it back to Glock, and they fixed it and sent it back, and I thought it was fixed, but now it's doing it again, and I'm not sure. I started eliminating magazines that were doing it.
Right.
And I changed ammunition for a short period of time, but I'm just wondering is there something I'm missing? Should I use 230 grain Remington UMC?
Right, which should be fine. I mean, honestly, if it doesn't run with that, it probably doesn't run with much of anything. Did it change anything when you tried different ammo?
No, not really. I don't think I used enough MagTech to figure it out. I didn't have a problem with it, and it'll go for 100, 150 rounds before it does. It seems like it's after it warms up. It's never done it.
Well,
when it's
okay,
cold.
let's talk about that. It's after it warms up. It's also after it gets dirty.
That's true.
Think about that.
So,
now, how do you lube that gun?
I use this synthetic oil. It's gun oil. I can't see the brand. It's over on the table. I've tried several different brands. I'm kind of a gun clean fanatic. I like the gun to be very clean, and I have a tendency to over-oil.
Okay. Could be an issue. Over-oiling can lead to issues, particularly if it starts gumming up, if it's dirty. That UMC ammo tends to be dirty, in my experience. And I'm thinking that if you've got a lot of oil in there, and if that ammo is dirty and you're leaving a lot of unburned powder, and even burned powder, it's gumming up the works. It may be as simple as changing your lube pattern, go to either a different kind of lube, or like every 100 rounds at the range, pop the slide off, clean it, just wipe it down with literally wipe the slide rails down with a cloth and put some more oil on it and slap it back on and get back to shooting. I'm thinking, just kind of working off of what you're telling me, that might be what's going on here.
No, it sounds logical. I do put too much oil on there.
Really, honestly, I'll tell you, 2 drops on each of the slide rails is plenty.
Yeah, well,
that's it. I mean, it's not much needed, and more than that just tends to be a sticky substance that all that junk can get on. And yeah, and honestly, that ammo is cheap and it's dirty and could be part of the whole equation. Okay.
Did you ever use the grease that they sell in place of the oil?
I have used grease. I've used molybdenum disulfide grease, moly grease, on slide rails, and that's good too. But again, a little bit goes a long way. AR-15s are the only gun I know of where a lot of lube is a good thing. It's hard to over-lube them, but almost anything else, particularly with dirty, cheap ammo, and I'm going to keep returning to that. It's cheap and it works, but it's dirty, and so that's going to necessitate a little bit different system in your cleaning, maybe wiping down and cleaning it more often, But do that. Do me a favor. Go out and shoot it again. And like every 100 rounds, pop the slide off, wipe it down, lube it up again, but just a little bit of lube, very little. Literally 2 drops on each of the slide rails that's all you need. Oh yeah, and 1 drop, maybe. Yeah, that's gonna be enough. Don't put it anywhere else. Just on the slide rails. That's all you need. Nothing else. Okay.
Can I ask you one more question about the Sig Sauer? The M17, they had out at the base, they had a commemorative edition of that, and I was going to buy it. I bought the 19X and a Smith & Wesson entry into that competition,
right.
And I wanted to buy the Sig Sauer, that commemorative edition that they sold out of it, and the person at the gun counter told me that they only made 5,000 of those, and that was it. They weren't going to make any more. And I had a chance to buy it at a really good price, but I bought this 44 Magnum instead.
So you're like the rest of you thinking, there's another one I should have bought. Now, if you poke around, you can probably still find one for sale if you start looking around. But yeah, it was a limited run, I gather. It's a full-size model. It's kind of the same as the military had. Now, it's basically the SIG P320. And so, but this is just the militarized version, if you will. But it's essentially a SIG P320. If you want it for a collector's item, that's one thing. If you just want to shoot, you can just go get a SIG P320 and go with that. So there you go.
Thank you for your time.
All right, I appreciate that. 866 Talk Gun. Be right back.
Maximize your firepower and accuracy with Remington's new Model 1911 R1 Limited Double Stack. Up to 19+1 double stack capacity, so you can spend more time shooting and less time loading. Next level accuracy and handling with a 5-inch ramped match-grade barrel and adjustable match-grade trigger for greater precision. Learn more at remington.com/handguns. The new Remington Model 1911 R1 Limited Double Stack. Welcome to a new era at Remington.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. shopguntalk.com.
Crimson Trace announces Laser Guard Pro, designed for today's most popular concealed carry firearms, combining a red or green laser sight with 150 lumen light and featuring instinctive activation. Laser Guard Pro takes personal defense to the next level. Available now for the Smith & Wesson Shield. Visit crimsontrace.com to find a dealer near you and to learn more about why Crimson Trace is making laser sights standard equipment.
Imagine this. This dad is away. The sheer panic that he would feel. He's working late. Bam, he gets an alert on his smartphone that his motion-activated Blink security camera detected something odd at home. He opens up the Blink app. He sees a silhouette of a man peering through his kitchen window. He calls 911 and alerts his wife. Crisis averted. Look, preventing threats like this, well, that's what Blink is all about. They've sold over 1 million motion-activated security cameras. Look, the point of having home security is to get help before some creep breaks in. You want that alert before it happens, not after. That's why I trust Blink. and you know, I use Blink. I talk about all the cool things we get to see with it. They're fast. It runs on batteries that last for 2 years. They've got a live feed option that lets you monitor your home from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions. So here's the deal. You get your Blink camera system starting at less than $100. No contracts. Visit blinkprotect.com/guntalk. blinkprotect.com/guntalk. Going to the phones, 866-TALK-GUN, by the way, if you want to call in, or just call me at Tom Talk Gun. We're pretty much open lines, whatever you want to talk about. Let's see, line one, David's with us out of Marshall, Arkansas, with a recommendation. We're talking about the old Remington 222, David.
Yeah, I've got a 788 in Remington and had it for a few years since I was 15, and I just checked the box again. I got several boxes of Winchester 50 grain soft point, lead tip. I killed 11-point, 17-inch spread at 107 yards last year, dropped him in his tracks.
Well, you've got a Remington 788. For people who don't know, that was one of the most accurate rifles Remington ever made, cheap as it could be, ugly as sin, with that single-stack magazine that stuck out of the bottom, and a pretty decent trigger all on top of that. I mean, it almost embarrassed the folks who made the Remington 700. That little cheap rifle was so darn good.
Well, I don't think it's ugly, and it'll drive nails. I mean, if you can hold it still, and it's still got the original 6 4-power Weaver, small scope. It's probably a 30 millimeter scope sitting on top of it. Yeah.
I'll be darned.
It's still there. It's still, as long as it works, I ain't monkeying with it.
I'll tell you, they call it the Triple Deuce, the Remington 222, and if you have one, don't get rid of it. They're pretty darn nice. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, David. Mike's in Tulsa. He's on line 3. Hey, Mike, Veterans Day. Talk to me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I don't know if I can get through this, but my son served with a couple guys that went to Iraq while he went to Korea. Eventually in 2006, and PFC Gibbons hit an IED while he was driving a Bradley, and it was followed by another Bradley for the 710th Cavalry, and it hit an IED and was blown 20 feet in the air. If you know what a Bradley is, that's a pretty big chunk of metal. And it ended up upside down. And the driver behind the one that got hit jumped out, Jesse Bright, run up and pulled him out, and they had to end up breaking his legs and his arm, and he was burned 90% of his body. They ended up saving him. He ended up in San Antonio for 10 weeks till he passed. And then later on, PFC Bright was eventually killed in Iraq. And he got the Bronze Star for saving his comrade. And it's just, there's love with brothers. And I remember my son, Tony, talking about the camaraderie of them. You know, I see pictures and the love they had for each other.
It's a special thing when somebody says, I will go fight for you, I will go protect you, and I understand that part of that is that I may be injured or I may be killed, but I will do that for you and for my country. It's hard to put into words the sacrifice and what you feel about people like PFC Gibbons and PFC Bright. I appreciate you sharing the story. I understand how hard that is for you, and thank you for letting us share that with you. And again, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. I'm going to let's go to line 2. Richard's with us out of Medford, Oregon. Hey, Richard, you're on Gun Talk. Give us a range report, please.
Yes, that's a humbling call to follow, but I'll try. I've tried working with the dot sights on my handguns, because I'm getting old and it's harder to see and stuff, and I've never really been sold, you know what I'm saying? And anyhow, I I carry my gun in church, and it's a pretty good-sized church. As a matter of fact, this morning I measured it. It's just about 40 yards by 25 yards, and there's about 500, 800 people go to church there. And I normally carry a Bluegrass R 1911 Commander 9mm with 3 spare magazines, 10-round magazines. But anyhow, the possibility of something were to occur there of a long shot is very real.
Right.
So anyhow, I have a Glock 19 that I have a Trigicon RMR with a very large dot. It's a 6.5 mil, or not mil, but minute of angle.
MOA, yeah.
Yeah, and which is really good for close in.
Right, but further out, that dot's too big.
Well, I want to tell you something. I knowing that I would had the possibility of a long shot with it, I actually shot a cur out to 50 yards, and I have a 2/3 sized steel silhouette steel.
Right.
And from holding it, now this is a Glock 19 Gen 4. Holding it, the dot, of course, covers the whole thing. You know, the way it looks at it.
Right.
And I was actually able to put 3 shots on the steel with about a 6-inch pattern. With my open sights, it's out of 3 shots, one of them might hit the target. Now, I am, however, going to buy a new Trigicon RMR 2 with a smaller dot. In addition to that, this I probably wouldn't do it, except that the RMR I have is the one that kind of changes intensity in different light conditions.
Right.
And in very dim light, it's almost useless. Especially if you're looking from the dark into the light, you just can't see it.
Yeah, I like the ones with a constant, and I'm just about out of time, Richard. Let me just ask you, it sounds to me like you've become a real convert to the red dot on a defensive pistol, though.
Well, especially for the particular kind of situation I'm talking about.
And the thing is, and you don't know what the situation is going to be. And then people say, well, you know, most shots, most self-defense shootings are X. You go, yeah, but what if they're not? What if you're in a theater? What if you're in a church? What if you're someplace where you actually do have to make a no-kidding, honest-to-God 30-yard, not 30-foot, 30-yard shot? It's one of the reasons I like lasers, and I like red dots, and I like anything that helps me aim more accurate. The pistols are accurate. It's our aiming systems that are not up to it, and these things flat out help.
This is Milo Lardbottom, Junior Under Assistant Deputy to the Assistant Director of Deputy Affairs for the Department of Homeland Security, with a special message for listeners of Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. We know who you are. We know where you are. You're right by your radio. We have special cameras that can see into your radio. I have a special monitor built into my aluminum foil helmet. We are watching you, so don't try anything funny, Buster.
All right, a couple of things out of the news. In the UK, that is Britain, knife crime growing to epidemic levels. So, what are we to take away from this? Well, they keep telling us over here that if only we could do something about guns, we could do away with murder and crime. Really? Well, England's done that. They've kind of pretty much done away with the guns. You can't have a gun for self-defense. In fact, it's actually illegal to defend yourself, in most cases, against a violent attack. London now has more murders than New York. And London has basically no guns. They're using knives. They're going to use whatever they can. But what they've done is they have rendered the population defenseless, incapable of protecting themselves or their families. It's an interesting compare and contrast exercise to look at England, London, UK versus here. Here we have guns. There they don't have guns, and yet they have this epidemic of violence there. Also in the news, coming out of New York State, Governor Andrew Cuomo says, we already have the strongest gun safety laws in the nation, And in the upcoming legislative session, we will take additional steps to make our laws even stronger to keep our communities safe. Well, the Democrats won a solid majority in New York's Senate in last Tuesday's election, and they are promising to pass even more repressive and restrictive gun control laws. The measures include creating, quote, extreme risk protection orders that could confiscate guns from people deemed by a judge to be a threat, a 10-day waiting period to buy a firearm. They're going to love this one. Authority for victims and their families to sue gun manufacturers that, quote, negligently market firearms to irresponsible buyers, close quote. That one's going to be interesting, and it's going to run right up against the federal law that prohibits such laws, and also creating a crime of failure to securely store a weapon to prevent injury and death due to use or handling unintended by the person authorized to possess. So in other words, if somebody steals your gun, you can be held responsible. Wow. Well, as we say, elections have consequences. And we can expect an awful lot of anti-gun activity. The gun ban lobby is working overtime, and they're well-funded. The NRA needs money. The NRA needs to be leaner and meaner. They need to be more effective. How do they get that? Well, of course, if we had billionaires to pour money on it, that would be one thing. But we need more members. Of course, we also need members to vote. There's that. If every NRA member got somebody else to join or bought a membership for somebody else, that would be impressive. It would get the attention of Congress. It wouldn't be enough by itself, but it would be a really good first step. It's going to be fascinating. It's going to be a hard-fought battle. And frankly, in some of these states, there is literally no way to win. When the New York Senate is strongly Democratic and you have Cuomo pushing these gun ban measures, these gun control measures, there's no way to stop it. It's going to get really ugly. It really is. Let's go to line one. Joe's with us out of Watertown, South Dakota. Hello, Joe. You're on Gun Talk. What's on your mind?
Thanks, Tom. I watched about 6 weeks ago the assassination attempt on Reagan, an hour-long show, and I never did know the gun used was a Rome RG-14, I believe. Are you familiar with that firearm?
No, I'm not.
I'm not either. But, of course, the way they slanted that story was they initially reported it was a Saturday night special, and 22 caliber hollow points that they referred to as Devastator ammunition that was designed to explode on impact. Well, we all know that the hollow point, what that design does, but I'm not aware of any 22 manufacturer of ammunition. You know, we've got the Blazer.
This was a weird. Look, this was a weird type of ammo that was very little known. It was supposedly designed to bullets were going to not expand, but actually literally explode on impact. I don't know that they did. Generally, that gimmicky ammo like that doesn't work. The good news is that even though Reagan was shot, he wasn't killed, it was. That was a failure on so many levels and changed Secret Service for sure with what they did and how they operate. The very idea that he could get that close, could do that, was amazing. But we can concentrate on the gun and the ammo, but that's kind of pointless at this point, don't you think? Why would we talk about it?
It is pointless, but was that ammunition referred to as Devastator by the manufacturer?
Yes, I think it was.
Oh, it was. So they
Yeah.
did report that right. But
Yeah, no, I think that was the name of it. And look, there's ammo out there right now that I look at and go, why would I ever want to load that stuff? I don't want to be in court defending myself in a self-defense shooting, and they'll say, why did you have ammo that the name of it is, and pick whatever one, and you're going to know the ones I'm talking about without me mentioning them, that basically say, they're going to kill you, and they're a man killer, and they're, RIP, or, come on. I don't want to have to defend that. That's just dumb to use anything like that. We shouldn't use that, and I offer that the people in the firearms industry shouldn't be using terms like that.
Well, I agree, too. I don't like the fact that Taurus has got one of their guns called the Judge. Right, stamped on the gun itself. That's not good. That's bad PR.
I hear what you're saying, and yet they had that gun out for a while, and it did not sell well, and they changed the name of it from whatever the number designation was on it and called it the Judge, and it just flew off the shelves and continues to sell. It's been one of the most successful marketing moves ever. So, there's that. It's like, and I appreciate the call. I went on a rant some years ago, back when I was writing for Guns and Ammo magazine. I said, come on, guys. We don't do combat. Those of us who buy guns, we need to stop calling these guns the combat this and the combat that. And I took some of the gun makers to task on that. And I said, this will be used against us from a marketing standpoint. And some actually changed the name of some of their guns, and a lot of them didn't. They don't care. And of course, that's been 15 years ago now. And so it's a whole new group of people at these companies. But we don't do combat. And to talk about that, to name something the combat this or the combat that when it's a self-defense gun, I think just sets us up for problems. And other people say, oh, Tom, you're just hand-wringing and you're worried about nothing. Maybe so. I don't know. What do you think? 866-TALK-GUN. Give me a call. We'll get you in here. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk. When someone leaves you their gun collection, you may want a few, but what do you do with the rest? How do you sell them? Who do you call? Well, I call Johnny Dury at Dury's Guns. Whether you're selling one gun or 500, they'll tell you what it's worth and write you a check. Simple, quick, easy, fair. I trust Dury's Guns. Give them a call. DurysGuns.com.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water. But perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
Are you looking for a place to shoot? The National Shooting Sports Foundation has a great website called wheretoshoot.org. It's the largest database of shooting ranges on the internet. It's also a great resource for shooters where you can find video tips, printable targets, and a lot more. Find it online at wheretoshoot.org. And while you're there, download their free iPhone app. That's wheretoshoot.org.
Want great deals on guns, ammunition, and gear? Download the free Gundealio app today. With Gundealio, you can search for deals, listen to the Gun Talk podcast, watch gun videos, read gun news, and get notifications right to your phone about deals and special offers. Save money on the products you want from the companies you love. New deals, discounts, and rebates added daily. Gundealio, available for free in the App Store and Google Play.
All the refinements in Smith & Wesson's M&P M2.0 pistol series shrunk to a perfect carry size in the new compact version. 4-inch barrel, light crisp M2.0 trigger, aggressively textured grip for enhanced control, 4 interchangeable palm swell inserts, 2 magazines, lifetime service policy, 15-round 9mm mag, 13-round 40 mag. The M&P M2.0 compact pistol. More at smith-wesson.com.
Back with you here. Easy to get involved in the show. Just call us. Really really easy. Just call Tom Talk Gun. Easy. Tom Talk Gun. Let's go to line 2. Michael's with us out of Modesto, California. Michael, thank you for your patience. I know you've been on hold for a little while.
Yes, sir. I sure love your show. I listen to it every Sunday. I don't have any guns, but I like guns. I'll get one down the road. But I was always curious, what makes one gun more stronger and powerful than others, like the MAC-10s and the Uzis versus some of the weaker ones? I look at the gun, the MAC-10s, and those ones people can hold with one hand, and those things will go through a brick wall and a house and everything else. Where is it in the trigger mechanism or the firing, or what exactly makes that explosion to make it stronger than other guns?
Do you really like guns, or are you just making this up?
No, I love all this stuff.
Okay, we'll go back to Ballistics 101.
Okay.
Any gun that shoots like a 9mm cartridge, whether it's a SIG or a Smith & Wesson or a Taurus or a MAC-10 or anything else, has exactly the same amount of power. Exactly. There's no such, none of these will go through a brick wall. None of these will go through a house. None of these will go through what you're talking about. A 9mm is a 9mm is a 9mm. That's all there is to it. Doesn't matter what kind of gun it's fired out of.
Yeah. What about these ones, these guys are, shooting these at different places and people and so forth? Aren't those very powerful guns?
You're going to have to explain what you're talking about. This feels like a plant call. I don't think you're sincere, but I'm willing to go along with you for a little while here. Tell me what you're talking about.
I would just look at one gun, and I love guns, but I don't have one right now. And I just wonder what made some stronger than others, more powerful.
You're watching too many. You're watching movies, or you're listening to the media, and a 9mm pistol. Anything that shoots a 9mm is the same power as every other thing that shoots a 9mm. The same with 38s, the same with 357s. Guns are not powerful in and of themselves. The cartridges are generally where we talk about getting power, and that is a measurement called muzzle energy. And generally speaking, most handguns are not particularly powerful. In fact, they're a lot less powerful than most rifles. AR-15s are very low-powered cartridges. In spite of what the media would like to tell you, in the range of rifle cartridges, the cartridge, the .223 that the AR-15 fires, is considered very, very low-powered. So be careful about your sources. And what you're telling me kind of makes me think you're either believing the wrong sources or maybe you're just baiting me. I'm not sure which it is, but either way, it's okay.
I like learning things about it. If I don't know anything, it's no bait call. I'm not going to waste my time on a telephone call to do something silly like that.
Here's the thing. If you say you like guns, generally people who like things know about them and study about them, and almost everything you've said is factually incorrect, and the basis for the questions is inaccurate. So that leads me to think you don't actually like guns and you're just kind of playing. But look, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you calling in. Thank you, sir. But we will be moving on here. Let's see. Let's get a range report. Line 4. Herman's with us out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Hey, Herman.
Hey, Tom. How are you doing? I think the guy was a plant.
You think?
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Oh, yeah, he was. I won't say what I really think about him. But I just want to tell you, I just bought a SIG 938. I have never held anything better, shot anything better in all my life.
Yeah? What is it you like about it?
It's small, weighs about a pound. You don't even know you're carrying it, and you put it in a sticky holster, and it works great.
And it's a little bitty 1911.
It's a miniature 1911.
Yeah, and they shoot great.
I'm sorry?
They shoot great, don't they?
Very, very accurate. My only problem, and that is where my question comes in, is the only thing I don't like about it is in order to insert the magazine, you've got to mash the magazine release.
Okay, I tell you what, hold that thought. I'm going to run to a quick break here, and let's take that up on the back side of this, because it's an interesting question when you're talking about the SIG P938. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it online. It's a little bitty 1911, and they're sweet as they can be. 866-TALK-GUN. Back with you. We're talking with Herman out of Shreveport. He's got a SIG 938, likes the pistol. But Herman, you were just before we went to the break, you were saying you got a problem. You have to push the mag release in to get the mag inserted into the grip?
Yes, sir. It'll go halfway in, and it stops. Then unless you if you mash it from the start, it goes all the way in. Otherwise, it goes halfway in, and then you have to. And I'm just not used to that. I'm used to slamming a magazine in.
Sure. Now, do you have different magazines? Have you tried different mags?
No, I've only tried the two that came with it.
Okay. How long have you had the gun, and do you have just a rough idea of how much it's been shot?
Actually, I think it was brand new. I bought it off Gunbroker.
Right, but how much have you shot it?
I've shot it probably 200 rounds.
Okay. Still getting broken in, but how long have you had it?
2 weeks.
Oh, okay, so it's brand new.
It's a new gun, yes, sir.
Yeah, I would say try maybe another couple of magazines. You can go to the SIG website and buy magazines directly there. They're never cheap, but at least they're available.
Yeah.
Shoot it some more, but don't wait too long to let SIG know, because they probably would like to have that gun back. You should definitely not have to push in the mag release to insert a mag. That's just not right. There's something not working right there. And I probably wouldn't hesitate. I would go ahead and contact them and say, hey, this is what's going on. And they're probably going to say, yeah, send it back. We'll get it worked on.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen that way.
All right. Well, I got you on the phone, and I know you're limited on time. I want to give you two kudos, okay? Number one, about 3 months ago, I called you, and we had a pseudonym, but I asked about insurance, and you had a guy on that gave me some great insurance information about guns.
Okay.
Collectibles insurance.
Oh, right.
Fantastic.
Good.
They were very reasonable, very good coverage. Second, I was listening, and I wound up, although I always thought it was nothing, I wound up buying an AR-15 pistol with the arm brace on it.
Right.
And I'll probably wind up going to federal prison.
No. They're perfectly legal. I know a guy just got prosecuted for having them, but the ATF lost in court. The jury threw it out because the ATF was trying to rewrite their laws, even though they said the arm brace is legal, the AR-15 pistol is legal, but if you put them together, now it's a rifle, even though their own literature said it was not. It was amazing they tried to pull that stunt.
I always threw it up to my shoulder with a red dot sight.
Perfectly legal.
And
it is perfectly legal to shoulder that gun and shoot it. The ATF says so.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. No, you're good. And they're really fun, aren't they?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
They're really fun. I like those AR-15 pistols. When I first looked at them, I thought, well, that's just silly. And then you get to shoot them, you go, I like these things. This is a cool concept.
I put a binary trigger on it.
Oh, okay.
With the binary trigger, it is awesome. And I also put the foldable stock on it.
Foldable stock, if you put a foldable stock on it, if it is not an arm brace, then you do have a legal problem.
It's the original stock, but it's it just swings around.
Okay. If it's the original stock that came on an AR-15 pistol, you're okay. But if it's, you just got to be careful when you start adding stuff on. You can get a file of the law. Look, I got to scoot because we're flat out of time. I appreciate that. Hey, everybody, if you'd like to be a part of the after show, call me right now, right this minute. 866-TALK-GUN, get you in here. In the meantime, you got to get somebody else to join the NRA. You got to take somebody out to the range to get them involved, and you got to make the commitment we're going to win the next election. This is important.